Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing methods that I use to learn vocabulary in a foreign language. I'm learning French and Japanese right now, and my methods for learning vocabulary are almost the same for both of them. But there are a few differences because of the differences in the language. Mostly the need to learn kanji characters alongside the vocabulary with Japanese. The most important part about learning vocab, or just learning anything in general, is to repeatedly see the words. This is one of the principles behind spaced repetition. If you're like most people, you can't just see a word once and have it memorized, so you need to be repeatedly exposed to new words. When you're a beginner, the words you learn will be popping up everywhere, so spaced repetition software may not be too useful to you. But as you get more advanced, it may not work to look up a word and then just hope to see it again enough times to remember it. The main problem about learning vocabulary with flashcards is simply discipline. Lots of people just don't regularly review or learn new words, and that's the reason they can't learn vocabulary. It would be better to learn one word and review one word every day than to learn and review 30 words at the end of every month and do nothing for the rest of the month. This leads to consuming a lot of content in your target language. This functions as a method of learning new words and also reviewing vocabulary that you already know. This content can be anything, but it's important to get a variety of sources. You can listen to podcasts, watch shows, watch YouTube videos, read books, or read the news. Now, this may not be possible or very enjoyable when you're a beginner, but if you keep exposing yourself to more content, you'll be surprised at how much more you can understand from 1 week or 1 month to the next. It's very important to allow yourself to see a word in multiple contexts, so you truly begin to understand its meaning. Sometimes English translations can be missing some of the nuance of the word, so you really need to see how native speakers use the word to fully understand its meaning. Learning words from a native context can be a bit more challenging for Japanese because of kanji. It can be difficult to look up a word in a dictionary when you don't know its meaning. That's why it's important to learn radicals, because most online dictionaries have a way of searching by radicals that you can use. There are also dictionaries that allow you to write out by hand, such as There's even the website Jisho, where you can also write out kanji on a computer. Make sure that you learn words in context, or learn phrases or sentences instead of individual words. This is really important because when you speak or write in your target language, you're going to be using your vocabulary in full phrases and sentences. So when you make your flashcard decks, put full example sentences from online or wherever you found the vocabulary. Or when you're looking for someone else's deck to use, look for decks with full sentences. Although it's better to create your own decks, it can be a lot easier to just use other people's deck. And in a lot of cases, you get the same effect. Another tip for learning new words is to say them out loud as you see them. It adds another auditory layer to the memory you're trying to build. It can also help you work on your pronunciation. Make sure that you verify the way you're saying the word though, by asking a native speaker, recording yourself and playing it back, or listening to an audio clip of the word. There's no point in saying the words out loud if you're just going to be solidifying bad pronunciation, so checking the way you say things periodically is essential. Play games and make it fun. Language learning, for most of us, is just a hobby, and there's no point in making it boring just in an attempt to progress faster. If you're having fun, you'll be motivated to keep studying and it'll be easier to remember words, making your learning faster. Take note of which resources you like using and which ones you don't like, and don't feel forced to do something because one person swore it was game-changing, or you always see it mentioned in language learning articles. Every person is different, we all have different brains and learning habits, and you should do what's fun for you, even if other people say that it's not that helpful. For example, I'm very guilty of harping on about Anki and Memrise and other spaced repetition software because they worked for me. But I know people who don't like using Anki. They find it dull and hard to get through, and that's perfectly fine. The only thing I'll emphasize is that you should give everything a try, even if you think you won't like it. Another example is that people who learn Japanese are often told that watching anime doesn't help you learn Japanese. Now, I personally do not watch anime, but any piece of media can be used as a learning tool if you try hard enough. And if you love the media, as is the case with many people in anime, you'll feel more motivated to rewatch it and pause to catch every word, and in the end, you can end up learning more than if you forced yourself to go through an Anki deck every morning when you didn't want to. Use mnemonics. If you haven't heard of these, they're basically any learning technique which aids information retention or retrieval in the human memory for better understanding. The most common types of mnemonics for vocabulary acquisition are visual, for example drawing out a little sketch of what the word means to help you remember it, or story-based, where you come up with a mini-story revolving around a particular word to help you remember its meaning and also spelling in some cases. Make use of linguistics. Learning a little bit of linguistics can help you in your language learning. If you learn the common prefixes and suffixes, it will take you a long way in learning words. You'll be able to infer the meaning of some words without looking them up, saving you time and making your learning more efficient. Some languages have particular endings to words which indicate whether the word is a noun, verb, or adjective, such as mente being used to indicate an adjective in Spanish. So if you keep an eye out for clues like these, you can become better at making educated guesses from context, which is an essential language learning skill and also saves you time in learning vocabulary. Use the words in your daily life. Don't complete that study session and forget about the language. You need to keep reminding yourself of the words that you learn. One way to do this is to talk to yourself when you're alone, narrating everything you do as much as you can. This can be as simple as saying, "I'm walking" as you walk. And if you lack the vocabulary to do this completely, you can just replace certain words in your sentence with their target language equivalent. You can do this in your head if you're in public, but the point is to get some output every day in your target language. Use monolingual dictionaries. This applies more to advanced learners than beginners, but it's a crucial step to crossing the intermediate plateau. You're trying to cut off all connection to your native language by looking at words in a monolingual dictionary. This way you can understand the nuances in the language, and there'll be no translation in your head when you see that word. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this far. If you found this video helpful, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. See you in the next video.